I think it warrants a little bit of just having a bit of backstory to put it in context, that there's something about studying the story of Our Lady of the Cape that when you really dive into it, you realize that she continues to write people into her story. And I think all of us seeing this film recognize, you know, there's a lot of slices of history that we've just seen, and people were written into the story at that time. And really, we're this next group of folks that are really, she is writing into the story in a very particular way. And I think that the simplicity of how it started is very, very important, because it just shows you, many of you who know us know that we just like to dig in the mud. What's that next little thing that Our Lady is calling us to do? Because if, you know, we try to have too big a picture about things, you stumble and fall. But you know what? Everybody can dig in the mud. And I just want Angelina to share the, you know, the astounding little simple, almost random thing that took place. Otherwise, we really wouldn't be here. And it just shows you how, wow, just an offhanded thing can lead to something pretty magnificent, my love.
After we both have done our consecrations to Jesus through Mary with St. Louis Marie de Montfort. So I don't know how many years it was later, but we had a girlfriend of mine come up to me. She said, I think Mary wants to come and visit you. And as a Protestant, a convert to the Catholic Church, I'd never had this happen before. And then when she talked about it, I was very excited about it. And she said, now be on the alert, though, for any graces or things that might happen. And for me, as a Catholic, I love our supernatural realm. I love the incorruptibles. I love the monk that flies. You know, like I all these stories, you know, and statues that come alive. You know, Saint Girard. You know, he's going out and we find out that Mother Mary came alive and the child Jesus came alive, and he plays with the child Jesus, and it's like nothing's impossible with God, right? Well, when you become Catholic, you really find that out. There's so much going on here. So she did. So I met her at St. Mary's in Ottawa, Canada. She gave me the statue, the 18-inch statue, one exactly like the one in front of us right here. We had to eventually, of course, come here and get our own statue. And she came and she just graced us with miracles in our families. We had to sell our house, sold within 2 weeks to Christians, and like so much. A lot of fear in my life. She just came and rescued. She did so much. And I just felt led to bring her to other people. And I just saw how people loved on her. And since then, we have seen people, her in their lives, how she has changed their lives, and specifically with her statues of Our Lady of the Cape. Like, it is amazing. We're going to have to start a book with that one time, but we don't have enough time tonight. But there's just so many incredible stories of people, and people that are here tonight too, that she has impacted them immensely, including ourselves.
Yeah, so the simplicity of just someone reaching out in faith and saying, because this is what this lady did. I think Mary wants to come and visit you. Oh, really? You know, just to Angelina, and she hands her this 18-inch statue. We had no clue really who Our Lady. Of course, we didn't know who Our Lady of the Cape was. Okay, Mary. Okay, that's kind of neat. But that just shows you, you know, that any little thing that we can do can lead to some pretty incredible things. Now, I do want to speak about the call to confraternity, and this is really how Mary's blueprint has come about. And I think this is very important to understand this part of the story, because it shows very definitively that this is not the machinations of anyone except for Our Lady. This is her design very specifically. So it was in 2017, after discovering, and you might say, you know, why do we say it's the greatest story never told? Well, the little piece of that never really has been told is that vow that Father Luke made. He made the vow to renew the confraternity. That little piece of information was in the James Shaw book. And I still remember the day when I read the book and read that and got all excited. And I'm sure you remember me calling and saying, oh, you could be the Father Luca today. You got to renew the confraternity. You know, everything's going to be great if you could do that. So what was really amazing is on the feast of Our Lady of Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal, if you can imagine, November 27th. And who is Our Lady of the Cape fashioned after? Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal. it was that day that Bishop Tremblay met with the pastoral council here, he was rector, and got permission for us to actually begin on his behalf to make that invitation to start enrolling people in the confraternity once again. And we did it through the internet, made it very easy. You know, you can download, you sign up. And it was quite interesting because at first when we did it, and this speaks to just the wider story here that Father Calloway, you're speaking about, you know, we thought, oh, maybe this is going to be kind of a local thing or a Canadian thing. I have to share with you, one morning was quite remarkable. I remember it was a Saturday morning, and I said, oh, I wonder if anyone from Australia will ever enroll in this confraternity here in Canada. Just, you know, I kind of threw that out when I was meeting. I meet with Our Lady every morning. I love meeting with Our Lady. And when I met with her, you know, 24 hours later, don't you know, I had a confraternity ding from Australia come into my inbox. That happened one more time with Russia. I asked about Russia within 24 hours. So this is really incredible because it's Our Lady showing us very particularly that, yes, the confraternity is for the whole world. It's not for just Canada or your little group that you're kind of sprouting out here. Now, here's where the story, I think, gets profoundly, profoundly interesting, because we're going along, it's 3 years later, and we're saying, wouldn't it be amazing if other Marian shrines would maybe get on the bandwagon and kind of copy what we're doing here? Because then, you know, Mary would be in a lot more places, asking a lot more people to enroll and just using the model of what we're doing. Well, we happened to be at Blessed Sacrament Parish one day, and it was Sister John Paul Marie who asked, have you spoken to the promoter general of the Rosary lately? Just out of the blue, random, because we had had the previous promoter in Ottawa 2 years previous, so really hadn't been thinking about that at all, and said no. So went on the net and found out there was a new promoter general, Father Lawrence Liu. Now here is how cool Our Lady is. On the exact day that we emailed Father Lawrence Liu to tell him that we would love to meet with him and let him know, would you, as the promoter general, get behind the spearheading of asking other Marian shrines to begin to develop the confraternity in their place? Would you get behind that? On that same exact day that we sent that email, a Rosary priest from Croatia emailed him telling him to get in touch with this couple in Canada. The same day.
Yeah.
So that's how we know this has nothing to do with any coincidences at all. This indeed is her blueprint. And now as we talk about, you know, our friends in the US, you know, the U.S. Grace Force, Father Richard Heilman, you know, they've raised up 70, 80,000 people in this Grace Force, all in the Rosary. Talk about, you know, getting them all in the confraternity. Whammo, Mary's going to explode this so quickly. Father Calloway, who's written the Champions of the Rosary, he knows about the confraternity. And look at what's happened. This is not coincidental. And here's another really cool God incident. When Angelina and I were asked to go on John Ed Benkovic's show to speak about Marian consecration for little souls, our little book on consecration for little children, well, guess who happens to be at EWTN that same day, unbeknownst to us? Yeah, Father Calloway. We're both in the restaurant. We had breakfast, lunch, and supper together. And I'm going, Our Lady Kate, blah, 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 blah. You know, and he's going, because the book isn't out yet, St. Joseph, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is really cool. And you know I love connecting dots. Here is the cool dot. And I really want us to get this because this is really profound. Remember in the film, who did Father Luke say to petition for that miracle of the ice bridge? Saint Joseph. And it happened in one day, and the ice bridge takes place, and look at what happened to this story. You know, it's quite a national story in its day. So what happened this time? Through a lot of Father Calloway's efforts, all through different languages now, all around the world, Saint Joseph is preparing the way for a whole year for this launch of the Confraternity. So Mary is doing the same thing. We know in the Old Testament, it foreshadows the new. So there are greater things to take place. And it is amazing that we are in this moment experiencing this together. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.